So Tea Party activists descending on Washington denouncing the IRS's targeting of them and other conservative groups. Kentucky Senator Rand Paul, he said, founder of the Senate's Tea Party caucus, was there. Listen.
I'm like most Americans horrified that my government has gotten out of control and is persecuting people for their religious and their political beliefs, and it needs to end, and it needs to end now. It turns out that the government employee at the IRS, who will not testify, who will not help with the hearings, it turns out she's been doing this for decades. She was at the FEC telling Republican candidates that you need to quit and we'll leave you alone, but you need to never run for office again. She's been using this bully nature of government, and we're sick and tired of government bullies, and we need to send them home.
That was yesterday, now this morning. Senator Paul with me now. Sir, good morning to you and welcome back.
Morning, Bill.
You're talking about Lois Lerner there. Do you think it stops with her?
Well, you know what I'm worried about is that there may be a culture of corruption within this. You know, you have government unions which have gotten so large and they give all of their money to Democrats. And so my question is, are they not only politically active, but are they using their day job to go after people that they disagree with politically? And this is very troublesome. You know, about a year ago, we had the EPA official who said, well, we should do like the Romans did. We need to crucify 5 or 6 businessmen when we go into town to make sure they're duly afraid of their government. If that's what's going on within a several million person government, we need to be worried.
So you're saying this is institutional within the IRS?
I don't know, but not only do the people need to be fired, there needs to be a special investigation from top to bottom and finding out, are people using their personal political beliefs to go after their enemies? And this may originate at the top in the White House, but it also may just be a culture where you have union employees that are traditionally giving their money to Democrats who are also going to work and saying, hey, why don't I try to get Republicans today while I'm at work as well?
Yesterday you said anyone want to fire some IRS agents. Who should be fired?
Well, I'd start by not hiring the 16,000 new agents that they're going to hire to enforce Obamacare. If we had a much simpler tax code, we wouldn't need many IRS agents. In fact, if we had a flat income tax where you just multiplied your income by 17% and you wrote down a number and that was your income tax return, you wouldn't need agents because I think everybody would comply.
Well, what do you think about the $70 million now slated in raises for employees of the IRS? They say they're required by law to give it because they are union workers.
You know, we would like to see the opposite. You know, we would like to see people let go from the IRS, a smaller workforce. And I think the people who are in charge of doing their conferences, I think they said there was over, what was it, $100 million spent in conferences in the last 2 or 3 years. That person ought to be getting a demotion and money taken away from them, but not a raise.
Well, you just mentioned a moment ago, you don't know if it starts at the bottom or it starts at the top of the White House. What's your hunch?
You know, I think it's a culture that maybe the White House either explicitly or implicitly is complicit in. Basically, that there's a wink and a nod, but there may not have been direct orders from the White House. But I do know that something has to change, that whether you're a Republican, a Democrat, or an independent, nobody wants a government that when your party loses an election, that the other party uses government to target and maliciously go after their political opponents. No American wants that.
Another topic now, immigration. There's word that there could be another amendment on the Senate side, your side of Congress, that will complete 700 miles of border fencing. They're double the amount of border guards, of 20,000 new border agents. Is that a bill you could support, Senator?
I'm for immigration reform. What we have is broken. But I've said repeatedly that I want to see border security first, and that the immigration reform, which I'm in favor of, is dependent on border security. So my amendment would say to Congress, you get to vote each year, and that the reform progresses slowly. This amendment, I don't think will do that. I don't think it will stop the reform waiting on border security. It allows the reforms to go ahead and tries to get border security, but I think they should be dependent upon each other. So unless that happens, I'm not sure I can support it.
I'm going to put you down as a no unless we hear otherwise.
We'll see.
Senator, thank you. Rand Paul from the Hill.
Thank you.